Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my channel. I am that Saxy Nerd. Originally, I had a Fallout song that I was going to put out today, but I'm going to push that back a week because Nintendo dropped the trailer to Breath of the Wild 2, and I have to talk about it. Not to mention, Zelda content's been lacking on my channel as of late, and it's time to fix that. Now, I am excited about this game. I'll get into theories and stuff regarding the trailer in a second, but I just want to say I'm excited about this game because it's quite rare that Nintendo puts out a direct sequel to a Zelda game. We've only had that happen like a couple times in the series, and one of those times resulted in my favorite Zelda game of all time, which was Majora's Mask. Like, Ocarina of Time was a revolutionary game when it came out. It totally revolutionized not just the Zelda franchise, but also adventure genre in general. And Majora's Mask, everything was already kind of just like made and had to reform together. Like, they didn't have to make tons of new technology to create that game, so that gave them the advantage that they were able to do a more interesting and in-depth story that was different from the normal formula, and turned out to be far more darker than Ocarina of Time was. I think a comparable thing to this would also be maybe Fallout New Vegas to Fallout 3. It didn't really need to... its game engine was already made, so then it was able to make a better story. And if you look at the trailer, it seems to be fairly dark. Like, I mean, you've got a dead body, well, an almost dead body probably, there, and it's creepy, and you're going through caverns, and the music is ugh. And to me, this really invokes that feeling of like a Majora's Mask response to Ocarina of Time, because Breath of the Wild is a fairly revolutionary game for Zelda. I mean, that was an amazing game, very different, didn't follow the normal format, and I'm fine with that. But this, as a response to it, seems to be much darker, and I'm very interested in it, because they seem to be using the same game engine, so the game should come out fast, and I honestly believe this is like a Majora's Mask to Ocarina of Time. I think it's like that. So you don't want me to rant about how I think this is like Majora's Mask. You want to know theories. That's what everyone's talking about right now, and I've got some. Now, everyone's pretty sure that dead body, or deadish body, is Ganondorf. And I definitely see that. That was my first thought, you know, the long red hair. He's even got the Gerudo symbol on, like, the cloth near his body. It seems fairly certain that that's Ganon. I did see someone post something that maybe it could be Majora, and that would be interesting. And they only used really that the Majora hasn't been in anything for a while, and then this is really creepy, and using that comparison to Majora's Mask, and the fact that the long hair, the way it is, looks kind of like the tentacles coming out from Majora's Mask. But I actually hope that it's not Majora. I loved Majora's Mask, and I loved the villain Majora, but as I've said in my Game of Thrones videos, sometimes when you explain something too much, it ruins the mystery and thus ruins what makes something cool. And Majora is something that we don't have tons of understanding, and if we did, I almost think that would lessen the character. And honestly, I think the concept of this being Majora is kind of thin. Ganondorf makes much more sense. My theory of what's going on here is that Calamity Ganon is basically an infection onto all of Hyrule, and it's stemming, we see it stemming from this body, and I think this was a ploy of Ganon to try to take over Hyrule in a new, unique way in this form of this infection, which is interesting. It signals a very hateful Ganon, I think, because this is a Ganondorf that has apparently long given up wanting to actually rule, and now just wants to destroy. That's like what Calamity Ganon was. What we see here is that it stems from the body, and so I guess Ganon must have made this choice, which is an interesting concept in their character development. And Ganon, in all the timelines, has different character development because different things happen. And so this choice of just to become like basically a destruction, an infection on the world, is interesting to me. Like, what drove Ganon to do this? Because that gives up ruling. Now, of course, we also have the arm holding him down, and it looks like maybe trying to stop the flood of the infection coming from him. And this is interesting, I've been looking online to see what people think, and some people pointed out that the symbols on the arm kind of reminds me of the Twilight Realm. And of course, then some people jumped on that, this is the child timeline and stuff. And I think, honestly, for Breath of the Wild, for me, I think it's in the Downfall timeline. But we don't have enough evidence, really, to choose anywhere, so I'm not faulting anyone for anything. But others have pointed out that no, the realm between Twilight Realm and Hyrule is broken because Midna broke that, the link between them. Link. That pun never gets old. However, like I said, I believe this is in the Downfall timeline, and there's nothing to say that the Twilight Realm doesn't exist in the other timelines. It would still exist in the other timelines, so perhaps that connection is still there in this timeline. Also, it's hard to see everything that's happening when everything's going fast, but it looks like that hand grabs either Link's or Zelda's in a way to make me save them. So this goes back to me thinking that maybe this is a good one. Maybe this is Midna. I don't know. I'm not putting my hopes in that, but I certainly can see this going on. And perhaps Ganondorf, to get this new just disgusting power that he has, it's so different that maybe this Ganondorf did do something with the Twilight Realm to get that infection to just spread through Hyrule. However, I have some thoughts of what's actually happening in this scene, because I think it's something that we've seen before in Zelda. This concept of trying to stop Ganon and ultimately empowers Ganon. So what I mean by this is this reminds me of Ocarina of Time, where Princess Zelda has Link go get the Sacred Stones in an effort to open the Temple of Time, and this would give them access to the power to stop Ganon. Of course, in doing so, they allow Ganon to get into the Temple of Time, giving him the power needed to take over Hyrule. And again, we see this in Wind Waker, when Link pulls the Master Sword, the thing he needs to defeat Ganon, he ends up releasing the key to Ganon's army and magic. Of course, ultimately, Ganondorf gets beaten in those situations. So what's happening here is I think that Zelda and Link are going to go find the body of Ganondorf and kill him off once and for all. And when they go try to do that, they wake him up. And so I honestly think this is in the first part of the game. And I want to see what Ganondorf does. This is a Ganondorf that has decided to, basically give himself up to become just the calamity. It's not even him anymore. It's just this unrelenting force. And I want to see what this Ganondorf does, because that is an extreme thing to do. This is not the Wind Waker Ganondorf, and this is not Twilight Princess Ganondorf either. This is a new, desperate Ganondorf who just doesn't seem to care anymore. And, of course, the game's going to end happily, I think, but it's going to be darker. It looks like it. I've heard that it's going to be... It would be interesting to see Ganon win. Yeah, that's kind of not, the coolest thing to say, I guess, but it would be different, and they're trying to be a little bit different with the Breath of the Wild games, and I'm sure they'll go back to the normal formula in a few years from now, but this is such a different landscape. We're dealing with such, different situations that it would be interesting to see this Ganon, at least temporarily, win. I'm excited for this type of Ganon. It looks incredible, it looks scary, it looks good. I just don't want to deal with another Ganon trying to gain power. That's something that, while Calamity Ganon was ultimately, as a villain, anticlimactic, the concept was really cool because it was so different. And I want them to keep being different with the source of Calamity Ganon, which is this Ganondorf, this body that we have. That's, of course, assuming this is Ganondorf, and I am going to assume that. I think that's the safe bet. So what were things that maybe I missed that you saw that you think should be talked about? Some people from, all the images that pop up, there's a shadow of an arm reaching for a body, and the body looks a lot like Demise, and some people were bringing up, well, maybe this is Demise. And I think that those shots were more... Because Ganondorf is the spirit of Demise, and I think that's this, what it was going for there is that, yeah, it's Demise, but it's actually Ganondorf. I mean, it's always Ganondorf, but that spirit is still the spirit of Demise in him. What do you think? What were some thoughts that you have? What are some of the theories, crazy or not, that you have? I'm excited, and I'm definitely gonna get this game as soon as it comes out. Breath of the Wild I got to a little bit later than everyone else, so I'm not gonna make that mistake this time. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed me just ranting about the trailer and what I think's going to happen. Would love to hear what you guys think. And I promise that more Zelda content is coming back. I do have some songs that I have been working on, and I have some theories that have been kind of on the back burner, but all that's going to actually be worked on, especially since the Zelda game's coming out. I'd be stupid not to. So if you like this, please like and subscribe. It helps the channel out so much. Support small creators. Thank you for watching. Thank you for spending your time on my video. And as always, stay saxy, everyone.